Need something to help perk you up for prepping your next D&D session? Or maybe you need to chill out before bed after some amazing RP? Well, Mini Worlds Tavern has you covered with an assortment of coffees and teas to get you through your day. Can't decide? Get on their monthly subscription plan and get a new coffee or tea to your mailbox every month, along with a set of dice, a sticker, and a homebrewed item or spell for your next character build. Use code Shelly for 10% off your next order. Again, that's code Shelly, SHELLY, for 10% off your order, excluding the monthly subscription. Drink well, roll better. Mini Worlds Tavern. There we go. Millennial pause. Hello and welcome back to the table. 'Tis I, your favorite drag queen, and some have said neurospicy being Shelly Von Miller here. I've been told that TBI gives you ADHD. There you go. I did not know that. I didn't know that. Somebody told me that, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm glad that's the thing." We are 9 episodes in, and well, it's going great. How are y'all liking it? How's it going? Please tell me. Leave comments. Leave likes. Rate the podcast everywhere you get your podcast, please. Thank you. I'm very excited about season 3. And speaking of dice rolling and brains working differently, this episode we have content creator, autism advocate, and one of the GMs at Tales Guild and their show New Rollis. Welcome to the table, Nate, aka Dice and Autism. Welcome.
Hello! Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. What's up?
Hell yeah. I love when people are excited to be on the podcast. It's one of those things. For those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are.
Exactly. Hello there, everybody. My name is Dice and Autism, and I tell stories on the internet and everything. I am obviously autistic and everything because autism and all that stuff, and I enjoy tabletop RPGs because dices and all that stuff. And as I said with my little tagline, I tell stories on the internet. I have like Fighter Saga, which is like the mellow tragedy stories and everything, and also kind of like the goofy but also serious things with like D&D and stuff called Pack the Father and stuff and all that. So howdy.
I love that. I love the fact that I love when DMs can kind of bridge the gap between the two instead of just being like always serious or always silly goofy. You gotta kind of have to have a mix. Like it's,
you really do. You really do. Like, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's like whenever comedians go into serious roles, like Robin Williams in Photo Booth will be the most chilling thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
You activated the horror brain in me, and I'm just like, yes.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, I love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That's not my that's not Oh Captain My Captain. That's not my, lovely gay husband from the Birdcage. That's
Mr. King.
that's psychopath. That creeps me out. If you've never seen Photo Booth, I highly recommend watching it. So I guess the question is how did you come to the name Dice and Autism other than you like rolling dice and have autism?
So, fun little origin story and everything. Watching during the lockdown and everything of the pandemic and all that stuff, theater was closed and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. I got nothing to like really help with the performance bug and all that stuff because I want to be an actor as well with writer and all that stuff. And I got a lot of like D&D TikTok compilations coming from YouTube and stuff. And I was just seeing all these people being able to tell these really cool stories like Mars is Crows, Patrons of Lore, Sarah is Coffee, and just like all these other great people just telling these really cool stories in like under 60 seconds. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is cool. I want to try it out and all that stuff. So open up TikTok and everything. And at the time, I did not know about like Asperger's being associated with Hans Asperger's and his dark history of being like a piece of shit person and all that stuff. So original username was Dice and Asperger's for a while. It wasn't until like about 5,000 followers, someone like messaged me in my DMs, be like, "Hey, Asperger's is kind of a bad thing." And I was like, "Oh, really? Why is that?" And then I did my research. I was like, "Ha!" So I was like, "Okay, you know what? I always hated Asperger's as well and everything because it's just a shitty diagnosis name. And also, what kind of ego do you have to name something after yourself and stuff and all that?" So I was like, you know what? Autism, a lot better, rolls off the tongue and all that stuff. So yeah, bury that, burn to the ground. Well, not bury it, more kind of like burn to the ground, acknowledge it, and then kind of like just, yeah. Yep.
I did not know that. But no, I had known about the past with the man that is Asperger's, and I was just like, "Oh, good to know. Good to know."
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing of like learning and growing. Like your community, as long as you build like a decent community who like will call you out. I say call you out, but like be like, hey friend, you might want to check yourself. I think that one tells everybody that one, you have a community that's willing to hold you accountable, and two, you're willing to listen to your community because you're like, oh yeah, never mind, I'm good.
Yeah, because you don't have like all the information by yourself and everything. You don't hold all the omniscient wisdom just by your personal self, and you need the other people to be kind of in and be like, that will notice that you haven't noticed before because your eyes are just too used to the environment you have built by yourself and stuff. And then when someone points it out, instead of like going on the defensive or like trying to say, well, actually we're going to try to reclaim it, when you can't really reclaim something like that when it's like just tainted and just like bad and associated to a point with like that. It's very much of like, okay, cool, we're gonna cut that out, we're gonna like just push it away forever and ever, acknowledge that of it, call out the mistake of it, and just like fill that up with like the good stuff and like rebuild that foundation just to be like, yeah.
Heck yeah. So how did you get into D&D? What's your origin story with that?
So my origin story was very much when I first got into college and everything. Being a theater person and everything, I was very much like really wanting to explore acting and all that stuff because, you know, theater and all that. God, there's so many theater and D&D is like the wavy like pipeline of like, hey, boom, 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 boom. But my college specifically was kind of, for like doing theater shows, was kind of super competitive. Well, not competitive. The professors, well, one professor was very much, was like, hey, the real world theater is going to be kind of hard and everything. So we're going to amp up the audition process and just like all that to like the ridiculous high stressful amount and all that stuff. And like, I also been kind of like noticing it was just kind of like getting harder and harder to like get into like other shows for it and everything. And when I get like a nice good part, it was usually like a small part and everything and all that. I was like, yeah, cool, awesome. But I was noticing there was like a certain cast of favorites that the particular professor would hire for his shows. I was just like, and I just wanted to have more opportunities for acting and all that stuff. So our college also had like a film department and everything, like student films and everything. And one of my buddies, he said, since I very much love improv and everything, was like, hey, you want to play this game called Pathfinder and everything? Because it's kind of like improv. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I love improv. So I was like, yeah. And then I played Pathfinder. We had a whole campaign. I was Kasatha, a bard Kasatha, because I chose a Kasatha because very much I wanted to have like fourth size for battle and everything, because Kasathas could have like 4 arms, and I was like, that's cool and everything, and I just fell in love with it absolutely. And then I had a very autism burnout during my senior year of college, and then I have just went back home just to recover of all that. And then my buddy from high school was like, hey, you want to play D&D and everything? And I was like, I is it like Pathfinder? It's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, all right, cool. Played a campaign, level 1 to 20. We fought Tiamat. We beat Tiamat, and then he also introduced me to Critical Role, and then I just got deeper in the pool, and I was just like, I'm here. I'm here. What's the TTRPG equivalent for queer? Queer? Yeah, I'm here.
I think it's just queer.
Yeah.
I think there's like theater. I think there's an overlap of queer people in TTRPGs.
Oh yes, most definitely.
I think that's a definite overlap that people have been like, interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. The fact that you went from Pathfinder to D&D, I've heard of it like a couple of times, but like that, it's always interesting when people have that crossover, because then you know that they're like definitely different types of individuals whenever it comes to like character building and kind of building a story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, really interesting. So now, okay, get into D&D. What prompted you to start GMing? Was it the fact that like nobody wanted to GM, or was it like, oh, I want to tell a story and there's nobody else to tell it?
It was very much of wanting to tell a story, because while like primarily being an actor and everything, I just love telling stories and everything. I like always been like a writer kid and everything, and just like been read like tons of books growing up. A lot of paranormal, like somewhat edgy YA books and everything, but then taste kind of like started to grow and all that stuff. You always had a phase of like that edgy supernatural stuff that always had like a special place in my heart. But I was always fascinated of like how to tell a story in different formats and different mediums and stuff. And then with like D&D and everything and being a DM, I was really fascinated as well, because I will like watching Matthew Mercer tell his story and everything. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And just noticing the literacy style that he was doing within like his DMing of describing the world and characters was also cool. And then seeing other DMs that wasn't like high studio stuff and everything, like Dimension 20 and other streamers on Twitch and everything from like other smaller content creators. I was just like, this is so cool. It's like a weird amalgamation of like audio reading novelization, but it's also like an active, alive book that's being formally written out in public, with like the characters being spoken by the players and stuff and everything. And this collaborative storytelling also just brought me in. I was just like, all right, if I'm gonna dive deep into a medium to tell a story with it, I'm gonna go 10 toes deep, learn all the systems and all that stuff to see what clicks and stuff, and then find the style that works with me in it. And that way I can be like, all right, I know the rules. Let's bend, mold, and see at what point can we like do it and that's not total breaking and making sure everyone is safe while doing the stories and stuff. So yeah.
I'm going to be nosy. What are some of the other, like, not Dimension 20 or, like, Critical Role, what are some of the other people that you were watching in the AP space?
Let's see. Tales of the Sneaking Dragon, of course. Yeah, love those guys. Let's see. I was watching, it was, Offbeat Outlaws, first big old AP and everything. It was really, really cool and all that stuff. Dice Cream Sandwich one with Ivy and B, and then Too Hard the Bard, and Between Two Johns was also in there as well. Oh God, I was so love Between Two Johns. He's one of my favorite like creators when I first started into the app and everything. It was just like really, really cool and stuff. And just like watching other like APs and stuff and everything. And then also like having like doing like your own like home games that aren't like streamed and everything. Also just kind of build up that confidence as a DM and like playing around with other people in the space that just love TTRPGs in general. It's kind of be like, yeah, just build up that confidence and stuff. So
What was your first campaign? Not AP, but like first campaign as a GM.
My first campaign was a home game with my friend from high school and stuff and everything, because I was like, all right, I want to try and everything. And we had this one player who was a little bit problematic in the first campaign of like he was a bit of a like a power meta gamer and everything of just kind of like wanting just to like go foom 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 and all that stuff. It would just gotta make these decisions of very much. And then there was a particular moment in like the later, I would say, Act Two of our campaign where it kind of like it was just like the final straw that broke the camel's back, and I was like, all right, you know what? Nah, I'm just gonna say it. I literally messaged the dude and be just like politely, just, like office politely, hey, I'm gonna kick you out of the campaign because of the choices that you've done and how inappropriate they were. Because there were problems beforehand and all that stuff, and like some previous stuff that he chose and all that of like he was the guy who was like, it's what my character would do and everything. And I was just like, oh, it was some bad choices. That was like, what are you doing? So it was like, and then he was just like, if you're just gonna kick me out, then just tell me that. And I was just like, you don't deserve my energy to be angry at you because that's gonna give you more fuel to like get back at me. So I'm just like, nah, thank you so much. Have a great day. Blocked.
Oh my gosh. How do you, what would you say to like DMs who are having that issue though? Of like having those kind of players of like, this is what my character would do, or causing kind of issues at the table on those similar grounds.
Yeah, I think very much so with that and stuff. You're gonna have to keep kind of like a level head. It's like being the parent of like, I'm not angry at you, I'm disappointed and kind of vibe and stuff. Very much so like, hey, I understand that this is what your characters would do, but you need to understand this is not a video game. There are other people at the table who are going to be experiencing the actions of what your character would do and your consequences will do. You can do things that what your character would do. Like, look at Matthew Mercer's character from campaign 4. His character is doing stuff that's like, whoa, but none of it is stuff that is like destructive to like the players or the campaign that makes it feel uncomfortable. Like, there are moments where his character is an asshole, yes, but also the fact that his character was like also offering a hand when Brian Ironguard's character was like slipped and he was like, need a hand? It's like he has those little moments of like, okay, there's layers to this. There's a particular reason why he spat on like the dude's dead body at the beginning of the campaign and all that stuff. There's reasons for it and stuff. It's you want to do something what your character would do, but don't do it to the point it's going to disrupt everyone's fun and stuff. And if they're going to keep consistent on that and everything, then you can't really like just like give them like the 3-chance warning and everything. Like, I think very much so it's kind of like you get the one warning, and if it was like an accident and you're working yourself to get better and all that stuff, yeah, we'll give you some leeway whoops so that way you can like relearn and train yourself to be like, all right, I'm aware of what's going on and need to work on that. But if you're just gonna like not wanting to put in the effort or try to be defensive about it to the point where it's like you're not seeing what everyone is trying to say and stuff, then it's very much of like, okay, well, you can find a different group. This table is not for you and everything. And just kind of like gently just like escort them out the door, close it, and just be like, all right, guys, we can continue on with our game and everything. And just also making sure that your player's okay after that aftermath and stuff. So
yeah, doing like a little check-in and be like, hey guys, definitely. How are we feeling?
Yeah.
Are we good? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I haven't had that issue yet. I've had players do some weird things that I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I'm going to make this a teachable moment in front of everyone.
Yep. Yeah.
But it's more like this isn't what the rules allow.
Yeah.
And this isn't what my rule of cool allows.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this a teachable moment.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I haven't had the issue of a player doing that yet. Mm-hmm. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Oh my gosh. I've always heard the horror stories, and I'm just like,
yeah, It really
I'm grateful
sucks.
to have some really great players,
Yeah.
even whenever I had like random players at a table.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was just doing like I GM'd for at Gen Con one year,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the choice of like who was at my table.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Speaking of Gen Con,
Yeah.
I mentioned in the introduction, you're
Yeah.
a GM over at Tales Guild.
Yeah.
You have 62 episodes under your belt with New Rollis.
Yeah.
One of them is a live show at Gen Con.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like,
well, I talked with the cast and everything with like Gen Con because we were all planning to meet up and everything at there and stuff. And I was like, hey, should we try for like a Gen Con panel thing and all this stuff? And they were just like, yeah, let's try. So I applied for it and I was like, God, this is probably not going to happen. And then it happened. And I was like, oh, which was hella cool. It was so awesome and stuff and everything. Fun fact, the people who were taking the room beforehand was going a little bit over time limit from our stuff and everything. You know how like the times for like the rooms are super hyper specific and very much. I was just doing like the Minnesota politeness of like, oh well, maybe there's just something up there, maybe they're just wrapping up and stuff. And one of my buddies from like the server, from my Discord server, who just like came into the room and just like, hey, we're waiting for the other people to come in. Like, it was basically he asked for no pickles like situation and stuff. And I was like, oh, and it was just like, you got to stand up a little stuff for yourself, Dice. And I was like, I know, but I just want to be nice and stuff. And just like, I know, but still.
I think that's also the point of, not the point, but like the, having the issue of like, hey, I'm not at home.
Yep.
I'm not in a comfort zone.
Yep.
I'm going to be here for a whole weekend.
Yep.
I don't want to cause issues that might cause issues for the venue.
Yes.
Where I don't get invited back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I get it. I'm like, I don't. I've had that issue I had that issue a couple times during Gen Con. And I wasn't even running things. I was just part of panels, and I was just like, hey.
Yeah,
hey, we got
it's just like you got to be a little bit of a firm person. I'll be like, hey, come on, I understand, but also gotta run a tight ship here. Gotta run it tight.
Gotta wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Yep.
If you can't get your stuff down in 3 hours, you haven't written your notes right.
Exactly. And also, hot take, I feel like more APs and AP performances or one-shots would be a lot more easier for people to like get into and all that stuff if they were in like the 2 to 3 hour range and everything. I feel like Dimension 20 does it like the best way of having like episodes. A lot of their episodes within like hour and a half, like 2 hours, and they save like the really important like big old like lore or character or battle ones for like those 3 hour markers and stuff and everything.
I've done APs where we had like a tight like hour, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and as a player, it is like I'm just getting started because because it's usually like a table of 4 or 5, and so we're all trying not to talk over each other. We're all trying to progress the story forward, but we're all trying to do things, and it's just like okay. Or I've been at tables. I'll admit this, and it's on the internet. I don't care.
Okay.
I've done an 8-hour session. Live on stream as a player.
Okay.
And I was just like, as myself, I was just like, I gotta, I'm taking breaks.
Yeah.
Whenever it's not my scene, I'm out. I'm like, I gotta stand up. I gotta go get water. Like, yeah, it's vampire. So there you go. That should tell you everything. But it was also like for somebody's birthday. So it's one of those things, like it doesn't always happen. But whenever it does, we're really moving through a lot of stuff. But for those who don't know about New Rollis, what is it about?
New Rollers is very much so fun fact about me, one of my golden I was gonna say pyramids, pillars, golden pillars of hyper focused fixations and interests and everything is kind of like the old black and white golden movie age and everything, from like the 20s to like the 60s and everything. I eat that shit up. TCM is one of my favorite channels of all time. I watch that channel with all those movies so many times. And one of my favorite genres of all golden age stuff and everything is noir and everything. And yeah. I love me a good hard-boiled detective like noir like movie and everything from like those age with Humphrey Bogart and stuff. I actually have a Humphrey Bogart Maltese Falcon poster on my wall and stuff. Yeah. Let me show you with my camera here if that's okay. Yeah, there it is. There's the boy.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
We got the live footage.
Yeah. But like I always enjoyed like the aesthetic. Well, I enjoy like the fashion aesthetic of like the 1920s and 30s. Economically and wise, shitty place to live in, shitty time to live in. Like I would not want to live in that time frame, but I'd be okay with very much of having the aesthetic of that and all that stuff. Like that'd be cool and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And also I haven't seen like a lot of like actual plays in D&D settings, kind of like checking out different settings and all that stuff. Because typically it's like the typical like TTRPG D&D setting is breaking down to basically your high fantasy or your steampunk one, or kind of like possibly modern fantasy, but that usually kind of like gets kind of like not shunned in the corner, but people just kind of like side eye of like, why are you trying to make a modern fantasy? It's D&D. You're supposed to be like high medieval fantasy. And I was like, okay, well, it's a system. It's not bound by the medieval fantasy. So I wanted to try that. And New Rawless was, at first, it was like this faction wars of these different gangs trying to like take over the town. And like you had the Roof Runners, you had the Blind Dragon, you had the Pettigue, and then you had this one group that was very much trying to like overthrow the city and trying to bring back of what they have buried beforehand, and that kind of evolved into that over time and everything. And it's more because right now we're in the final arc, well, the final act, and like established this is the final act and getting close to like the ending and stuff and all that. But it's gonna take a few months because D&D and stuff and everything. And we're currently in like a mayoral candidate like camp arc thing. One of our players, Harlan, that is played by Sequo and everything. His character is running for mayor against the big bad evil guy, because there is an item in there that is going to like be destructive that the previous mayor locked up because it's associated from like the past and everything that caused a lot of chaos and stuff and all that. So now it's like also like doing this like mayoral campaign arc where he's like, okay, what can I do to like make sure my campaign does well? And also I've been having so much fun of being like, oh, you're going to be doing that and like saying these other things about the other mayoral candidate you're going against. Okay, you gotta watch out for those like political ads that might smear you and stuff. And the reactions, just like seeing it and stuff is just like, it's like that nice giggle of the DM. It's like, hey, it's the consequences of your actions.
Elsewhere in the city, you're getting slammed in the paper.
Exactly.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love the fact that a character decided, I'm gonna run for mayor. This is how I'm gonna beat the BBUG. I'm gonna run for mayor to make sure he can't get it. That's oh my gosh, glorious. So with the live action, like the live version of that, how are the jamming styles of having a live audience, like, and then having a live audience? So like having a live streaming audience and then like a audience that will literally laugh at your jokes and you're like, oh, that's not a laugh track. Oh shit.
I think it's very much, I was already kind of trained to like be aware of like audience energy and stuff, like with like doing a lot of performances for theater and like show and stuff. You're very much like the thing about theater and everything with acting on the stage and everything, you're supposed to be aware of like your actors and like if it's a drama and everything, you're supposed to be aware of the actors of like what your next line is, what the energy is going on, how we can make sure we can keep the performance consistent with the other performances we have throughout the week and all that stuff. But within a comedy of a play and everything, it's very much like, yeah, you're aware of your actors, but you're also aware of your audience as well with how they are reacting and their energy and stuff. And I feel like very much so if you're going to be a streamer for like a streamer that's doing like performances via like if you're doing like a video game stream or like an actual play stream and everything, I feel like you just need to dabble your toes a little bit into like theater performances in general, so that way you have the firsthand experience of like, okay, these are the bone structures of how you can tell and read your audience and like when to like pick things up, when to like slow things down, when to kind of like throw the jokes to make sure everyone kind of like gets like relieved and cool off, and when it's time to like pull the trigger for like some big story moments, bam, there you go.
I've also heard the thing that people should also like streamers and AP performers should also do improv.
Yes.
That way they have that better knowledge of how to, whenever there's a unknown moment, that either you can fill it with something or you can react appropriately. Yeah. I've taken improv.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Hell yeah.
I would love to take more stuff. It's one of those things. I'm done with college. I don't want to do more classes.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm a grad school dropout for a reason. I don't want any more school.
Yeah.
Though I will take a workshop. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, a workshop, meh. Yeah, classes, though, I'm like,
Yeah. Workshop, community classes from like local theater and everything. Those are viable options as well and everything. And you will learn a lot more than like spending like, well, you'll learn about the same from like from like dropping like $1,000 from like this high prestige like class and stuff. You're gonna have more of that personal time with like the person teaching you, because it's usually like a small set of group and everything, and it doesn't also have like the other people of kind of like vying for like attention or like the cutthroat of like, oh hey, yeah, you're an actor too, okay, bam, just like, and just knock you down. It's like, oh, look at me. It's just like
Oh my goodness. So I also saw on Tales Guild that you have a show called DM Talks.
Yeah.
That's fairly new. What is that show about? What can people expect from that?
That is usually reserved for when we don't have like any shows or in general like popping up and stuff. It's kind of like very much kind of like in case of emerging break the window. But I always wanted to be like the kind of person to be like, hey, I have like knowledge I have accumulated from like learning from others of like how to DM and everything. And I feel like there are people who want to get into D&D or tabletops in general for like DMing and stuff, but it is a very scary thing to do and everything. And when you have that pressure, and I've been there before, we've all been there for wanting to DM and everything. You look at the DM's chair and it's like, I want to do that. And then when you try to do it and everything and you learn, it's like, it's so overwhelming with all the information you got to learn and everything. So I want it to be kind of like the not the cool, I hate saying like the cool teacher vibe and everything. It's more kind of like, well, I guess Dead Poet Society kind of vibe of Robin Williams of being kind of like, hey, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get a little bit crazy. But you know what? We're going to make it fun. We're going to make it goofy. We're also going to make it digestible so that you guys can like understand what's going on and stuff and everything. And then we can also have like Wilson and like Ethan Hawke finally have their romance and everything on screen instead of like the poor guy going away. I'm still mad about that movie. Sorry for spoilers.
It's spoilers for a very old movie. I think it. What year did it come out? Like 1990.
It was like in the early 90s and everything and all that stuff.
I think we're good. If you haven't seen Dead Poet Society yet, another classic Robin Williams movie. This is your assignment to go just watch Robin Williams' filmography, honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do it. Just do it. I met the man. Whenever he's super nice, super
Yeah.
nice. He did a Christmas tour
Ooh.
for several years to the Middle East. So he was like in Qatar and Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan. He would go like around there and do a Christmas tour and do like stand up and everything like that and bring people with him. So like Lewis Black.
Wow.
Freaking amazing. Not Neil Armstrong, the other Armstrong with the yellow wristband. I can't.
Lance?
Lance, there we go.
Yeah.
I was like, the year that I went, it was Lance and Kid Rock and Lewis Black and Robin Williams and one of the Miss Americas.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was interesting. I was just like, I was like, Kid Rock, really? But no, Robin Williams, super amazing man.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone go watch Robin Williams movies. Are you hoping to make that show like a full-time thing eventually for Tales Guild?
Well, I don't necessarily know, because I do have the idea of having like doing like a new campaign of it when it's done and everything, kind of like, all right, let's go into like a little bit in the future and stuff, like the aftermath of like this and everything. I do have the idea. The idea I've been bubbling is like kind of like the 90s aesthetic of like New Rollis and like the continent of like New Rollis and to be able to explore the world and stuff, because I started New Rollis very much of like, okay, we're just going to focus on this one town in general and not expand, because also still a baby DM and everything and all that stuff. And I feel like very much if you want to be a DM and everything, start yourself off of just doing like maybe like a mini campaign in general of like one town focus and everything. You don't need to explore the world and everything. Keep it like self-contained in that sandbox. And then when you're getting bigger, when you're getting like better experience on it, you can start expanding more and more and more and stuff. Like you got to get the reps in, you got to get the cardio, got to get the stamina before you start sprinting like a marathon and stuff.
Yeah, don't be like me, kids. Don't be like me. My first campaign was also my first AP as a GM. My first campaign as a GM was also my first AP campaign as a GM.
Yeah.
And I did the simple thing of not homebrewing a location. Yeah. So I did, the World of Critical Role. I did the role of Exandria. Yeah. And no, never again. Never again. I'm like, oh, Matt Mercer's... mine was set like 2 years after the stuff of Campaign 3. I was like, Matt Mercer won't do anything crazy. We're gonna kill the fucking gods. I'm like, damn it! Oh, no. Spoilers for Campaign 3. Sorry, guys.
What?
Sorry.
I was just distracted by my magic cards here. What? I didn't hear there.
What magic? Okay, on that note... Oh, on that note, well, I was talking about long term for the DM talks. Are you wanting to do that long term as well?
I would like to do that kind of like in the bite-sized chunks and everything, kind of like a hyper focus of being kind of like, hey, you want to do this and like this thing, kind of like how Matthew Mercer did very much like his DM talks for Geek and Sundry and all that stuff, kind of like break it down and kind of like nice 15 minutes videos and everything. Like doing like a lecture on stream on said like subject for D&D or TTRPGs, it's kind of like nice and fun and all that stuff. But it's also pretty exhausting and all that stuff, because you're like trying to like fill out like the at least like hour minimum for Twitch, so that way people can like be able to like see and it's like viable and stuff and all that. I would like to do it as like another thing to be kind of like DMings, or like just to like to like offer their opinions and stuff for different systems and all that stuff and everything, and also like provide like maybe like other DMs of different backgrounds and races and sexuality to like put in their perspective on like certain stuff for like TTRPGs and stuff, because I am very white and
same. I'm very white. Hey internet, in case you are listening to this and not watching this, I am pale as fuck. If you're 3 seasons in, I'm white as hell. Sorry. Yeah. I'm very pale.
White. I'm so fucking white.
I'm a honky. There we go. Hey, I'm from the South. I've been called that many a time. No, okay, we're going to talk about magic, but we're also going to talk about other content that you make over on TikTok under the name Dyson Autism.
Yeah.
What geared you towards making that type of content of the, like, not just like magic, but like D&D, and I know you mentioned it a little bit that you got kind of you saw a bunch of people on YouTube from D&D TikTok, but like what branched you into that type of like skit based type of content?
For me personally, like I enjoy the D&D memes and everything, just like getting that first exposure of it. But then seeing people kind of like rehash and replay the same old D&D memes over and over, of just kind of like, oh, hey, the bard seduced the dragon, the fighter is boring, rangers are the worst class, and all that stuff. I was like, okay, you got anything else? And then my brain was also kind of like ticking and everything. I was like, okay, why don't we kind of like go all in on some of these like memes that we joke about of these tropes for like D&D and TTRPGs? Yeah, the bard is like seduces the dragon, but what if we have like a story where the bard and the dragon are in a loving and healthy relationship with each other? Or like
that's called Shrek. That's called Shrek. I mean, they have like 5 movies of that, right?
They do. But,
they're married.
Yeah,
it's Donkey and Dragon. They're married.
But I feel like people also kind of forget of like the commentary that Shrek does with kind of like how Shrek and DreamWorks was very much like the antithesis of like Disney and being kind of like, yeah, we know these fairy tales and everything, but we're also gonna like do kind of like the comedy side of like, okay, this is what we're trying to make fun. We're not making fun of it. We're kind of like putting it in the light of like, what if they're actually like taking it kind of like a serious, but also injecting the humor of it, of like the situation of they're in and stuff, and like very much of like making like a story of like, hey, what if the fighter actually has a really cool story along with his like stuff instead of like being labeled as boring and all that. If you think is other hot take, if you think fighters are boring in D&D, I'm sorry, but you need to get better at your own creativity skills and everything. Like,
honestly, the fact that a fighter can do so many freaking things in one turn.
Oh yeah.
1 scares me.
It does.
And 2 is like the most exciting thing. Also, I think I'm very much of the camp of why are Rangers the worst class?
Yeah.
Outside of Wizards of the Coast and not optimize them correctly.
Yep.
If you're not looking at supplemental fucking information from other sources from other than Wizards of the Coast, then you're the boring one.
Yeah.
You're the uncreative one. Come on, there's so much out there.
Exactly.
Like, so many people homebrew things.
Exactly.
I made my first subclass that I homebrewed was an artificer subclass.
Yeah.
And it was an architect.
Ooh, okay.
I will never do that again. I say that. I'm probably going to make another subclass. I plan on making more.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make a ranger subclass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never played a ranger, but my first D&D character was a cleric. So that should tell you everything.
Yeah.
My first D&D character got to play her from level 1 to 20.
Yep.
Was a cleric rogue.
Cleric rogue. Okay.
Cleric rogue.
That's cool.
I wanted the bonus action to get the fuck out of the way. I wanted the bonus action to get out of the way.
That's fair.
Look,
that's totally fair.
Look, she was squishy. All right.
Yeah.
She died twice in our campaign.
Oh no.
The cleric died twice. That should tell you everything. That should tell you everything. But you do a lot of like Hey DM. I also just saw one earlier of the Hey DM. I know we did like this crossover with Vampire. What about another system? And you do Pathfinder, and I'm like, that is the fact that the Warlock's like, the witch class is so cool. My first Pathfinder class was witch. I played Pathfinder for the very first time on a charity stream,
Yeah.
and it was, I was like, I'll play a witch.
Yeah.
I'll play witch. Why not? Fucking best class.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's like very much like Pathfinder is very much of like, they're not afraid to like take the risk and being like, all right, like we could this class here could be a subclass. And we could do it and kind of like very much gut it to the point where it's like it has to be like a subclass and like not expand on like what it could really be. But the cool thing about Pathfinder is like it will just be like, yeah, we're gonna make it this in class and everything. We're gonna make it like what it can do, all the possibilities of it, especially with second edition now of it very much of going like, yeah, okay, it's on the wall and everything. Let's shape this because I do like the shape of it and stuff. Let's mold it a little bit and all that stuff. And then when they realize it's like, okay, this ain't working. All right, we're going to like scrape most of it off, but we're going to keep some of the remnant here and for like a rainy day and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, let me pull up my character sheet real quick for that. I took a certain spell. What was it? It was a certain spell, and it was the best spell ever because it did so much but so little at the same time. Where is it? I hate this damn thing. No, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. But I made her a whisper elf, so there was all sorts of stuff in there. Yeah, she was a witch and a whisper elf.
Oh, nice.
Do that with what you will.
Yeah.
But it was a really fun spell that I just got to be like, no, you can't hit me. Leave me alone. Stop it. We're going to cause problems. What is the most outrageous thing that a player has hey DM'd you about?
I'm trying to think here. There's been a lot of like crazy stuff that has happened and stuff and everything, mostly from like the new Raws, which you can check out from like watching the VODs and everything on the
exactly.
Yeah.
Link down below.
Yeah, link down below and everything. But I think one of my recent incidents of this happened. This actually happened in our last session and everything, where B's character, Evie and everything, she's like a gunslinger and everything. It was like everyone was like spread out of town again after like what happened previously of like, don't split the party, something bad will happen. And B's previous character, Mila, died and stuff. And they were like, we're going to split the party again. I was like, okay, all right, here we go. And so there's like a god of chaos that's kind of like helping them out and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me just dimension door you to the place that you need to go and stuff. And the scene that they were like she was seeing and everything was like Zelvy's mom's character. Zelvy's played by Taka Morgan and stuff and everything. She was confronting one of the BBEGs, kind of like secondhand person in the person, and they were about to like cast a spell, not an attack spell, but kind of like Magnificent Mansion, just to kind of like have like maybe a private conversation, also a private fight. And then she was like, and then B was like, hey DM, can I shoot my gun through the dimension door? And I was like, I had to think about it for a second logistically of like, okay, do we need to roll for any of this? And I was like, no, you don't have to, because you could literally like kind of like walk through it, walk out of it kind of deal, all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go for it. I didn't think about that. That was like actually kind of creative and everything. And I was like, all right, let's go for it. Let's go for it and all that. And it was like, all right. And just deals like massive damage to stop the spell. I was like, damn. And one of my other favorite things very much is what Harlan from New Rawls will do a lot of, very much of like, all right, I'm gonna probe the mind, all right, detect thoughts and everything, and you can go deeper and everything. You get like deeper thoughts and stuff and everything. And like, it's not always worked out beforehand of something bad will usually happen and stuff. And I was like, hey, DM, can I probe the thoughts of this person here as they're unconscious? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Because they were the baddie and stuff and everything. And I was like, okay. And the baddie, and they got some stuff like making sure no one kind of like safeguarded information, all that. So you're going to have to take some damage. I was like, all right, cool. They almost died. I think it was like early on in the campaign. It was probably like level 4 or 5 where I was rolling a bunch of dices and they were like, I'm still up. And I was like, fuck. Oh, God.
Oh my, no. See, that's why I can't take, like, aberrant mind stuff, or, like, I can't do that. I'd be like, nope, nope. We're gonna have, like, a nosebleed moment. Someone's gonna die of, like, a brain aneurysm. No, 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 no. What are you hoping with your content to accomplish? Like, what is something, like, what's, like, a long-term goal that you hope to accomplish with your content?
My content, for me in general, it's very much of wanting to tell stories and telling those stories and reaching the people that feel like they resonated with it and how they feel connected to it. And then also being able to tell stories that need to be put a spotlight on and be kind of like, hey, look at this stuff right here. Not me, but the story that we're writing here and all this stuff that would be like need to be talked about and stuff and everything. Because like being like an autistic person growing up and stuff, like I very much was just hungry and like just searching for like good autism rep in like stories and media and all that stuff. And like I was on the hunt, like it was a very, like when I found out I was autistic during sophomore year of high school and all that stuff, I just went on the deep dive of trying to like find good representation and stuff. And like that was like 2012 and everything, and the pickings were slim. It was so fucking slim. Today it's a little bit better, but it's also like it's also like a hodgepodge of like the other like bad stuff and everything. So it's like, okay, yeah, but no, it's very much of just wanting to find and like writing characters that people that they feel like they are seen and heard and represented, because that's like the beauty of storytelling in general, of feeling that a character is like a part. It's like you, but it's like out in public for other people can see, and so that other people can like, oh, I can empathize with that. Okay, I want to know more about this, and being able to kind of like spread that word and like, you know, grow that spotlight to even bigger to like flood the whole stage.
Amazing. What is a dream table that you want to GM?
Ooh,
and what game? And what game?
All right, are we talking fictional characters or actual people and everything?
You could do either or.
Okay, cool. I have this list. I actually Sam White and GM and everything, who I did an interview with for her.
We love Sam.
Yeah,
we love Sam in this house.
She's so cool. We had a whole conversation about this. That was like one of the questions. She was like, "All right, I'm gonna give you. This is one of the questions we're gonna be saying and everything." Okay. Okay. No, Microsoft. I don't want the 364 thing.
Microsoft, what are you doing?
Yeah, just what are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
We'll cut this out. Editor Shelly, we'll cut this out.
We'll cut this out. But very much so, my list, Sean and Gus from Psych and everything, chaotic duo right there and everything. Of course, you got
what system are you playing first?
What system would I want to play? Honestly, Daggerheart. I want to play Daggerheart because like I feel like Daggerheart is a really cool system. I've been reading it a lot, and I'm just like, yes, I want to play it as a player before I start DMing games of it first, so that way I have the first-hand experience and stuff. But yeah, Sean and Gus from Psych. Of course, you got Matthew Mercer, Brennan Lee Mulligan, Lou Wilson, and also my underdog choice of Dimension 20 cast, Soybon Thompson, everything. Super great player. Just like she is brilliant, but it's not the showy brilliance. It's like that hidden brilliance that you're not aware of what she said and does until you're like, you think about it and it's like, oh shit, hold on, that's freaking fantastic. Sidney Poitier for one and everything, because honestly, that man would be able to tell such great like PC monologues that will dive deep into their characters and would just be the greatest actor at the table.
Do you want to cry at your table? At your own table? Okay.
Oh, hells yeah. I tell sad D&D stories on the internet. I'm always down to cry. And then the other person I would want at my table would be James Dean. James Dean, and actually, he would be so cool. I feel like, okay, James Dean, everyone knows him for like being the rebel person with Rebel Out of the Cause. But if people like saw his actual other movies, like Giant or even like East of Eden, which personally, East of Eden, his best work and everything. I know critics will probably go to like, oh, Giant, because it's like one of those long ass like Western epics and everything, but it's too long. It is too long. It's trying to go for the, it's trying to go for the Gone to the Wind formula here, and I don't like the Gone to the Wind movie formula. Like, we don't need 3-hour long movies. If you're going to make a movie that's 3-hour long, just make it into a mini-series and everything. But no, I think James Dean would bring like the nice subtlety of his characters and be very much, would be so cool of describing like the physical characteristics of what their character is like going through emotionally and mentally. Also, that man would probably play like the absolute hottest, meanest bisexual Daggerheart character of all fucking time. Can you? The internet would break.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't your permission, whoever's listening to this. If you contribute to the AI slop to do this, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just use your mind palace. Think about it.
You use your mind palace. You come on. You did it when you were like a little. Now you can do it as an adult. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't contribute to AI slop. There you go. This is
if you use AI.
Exactly. Real artists don't use AI. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the point of the podcast where I say plug your shit. Tell the people where they can find you.
All right. So, where can y'all find me and stuff? Okay. Well, pretty much on all the socials and all that stuff. You know, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. I don't post a lot on on the Twitter and everything because so you can check out like post stuff and everything like on Threads and all that stuff, but for like video content and everything, you got like your Twitch and everything where I do stream like the new Rawless stuff and everything, and I will be streaming video games as well. I play a lot of RPGs and stuff, surprisingly, and all that stuff. The current game I've been playing right now is Near Replicant and everything because I just finished Automata, and now I'm playing Replicant, and now I'm just like, wait, hold on, there are things up in here and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah. And I do still have my TikTok, and I do post on there and everything because that's like my largest audience and everything, but I'm mainly focusing on the YouTube and stuff and everything because I find that's a little bit more consistent and actually fairer for people to see my stuff instead of like TikTok, like random wild magic. Hey, here you go. People will like see it and everything. And then when you post like something that's like the same quality, I was like, nah, no. But yeah, if you want to check out more of my stuff with videos of like new skits, new sad D&D stories, like Fighter Saga and everything, which a lot of new stuff is exclusively on there. You can check it out at like Dyson Autism, YouTube, and all that stuff, and Dyson Autism for all the socials and everything. But yeah, that's where people can find me and stuff.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Well, you can find all those links down below. Speaking of finding people on the internet, you can find me everywhere on the internet at Shelly Von Miller because branding is important, and I don't feel like having a bajillion different accounts with a bunch of different names. There you go. If you would like to help the podcast grow and everything like that, and also get the exclusive table sets segment that we're about to record, become a patron over on Patreon. Patreon is the best way to get exclusive content. Paid tiers start at $7 a month, and if you want it all, you can have it all at $25 a month. Or if you just want some things like ever so often, we do have a free tier, y'all. It's okay. You get a monthly newsletter with a homebrew thing that I make. I make homebrew stuff. There you go. I do like TTRPG things occasionally. Who knew? Who knew? With all that being said, I love you guys very much, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye!